Hello, I am Todd Mason, and welcome to this conversation. I am so happy to have a special guest with us today, Alex Carrier Hitchcox. She is the Employer Relationship Manager at USM College. And Alex, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to talk about something that's pretty passionate to me and important to me, and I know it is to you. And it's about internships, and it's about developing our up and coming leaders in our workforce. Let us know a little bit about you, your role, and what you do at the University of Southern Maine.
Thanks, Todd. Appreciate you having me. So I serve as an employer relationship manager at the University of Southern Maine, as you mentioned, and I work in our career and employment hub to help grow, deepen, and strengthen relationships between the university and the employer community. We work to ensure that our partners have everything that they need to recruit our students for jobs and internships, and also to help build programs that support them in doing so. We want to connect employers with faculty, and really ultimately at the end of the day, it's really to serve our students well and to make sure that when they leave the university, they're prepared to enter the workforce and to really contribute and give back positively to the state, as many of our students do stay in Maine. They're from Maine. And so it's just such a great mission for us to be able to build those collaborations in service to our students.
No, and what an awesome mission. And I can speak from personal experience. My daughter, recent college grad, and did a couple of internships, and that set her up so well now that she's in the workforce and as an adult. And I know for students they can have an immense amount of value. But talk to me about what kind of value does it provide to the employer, someone considering bringing on an intern?
Yeah. Well, internships, as you mentioned, are mutually beneficial partnerships.
Hmm.
So, of course, they benefit the student because they get professional work experience, develop themselves, get the opportunity to network, meet people, and ultimately prepare themselves for hopefully career paths. Of course, down the road, but for the employer, you get sort of the obvious benefit of some hands, some extra
Hmm.
hands.
Hmm.
Interns typically are paid, but usually less than a full-time employee would be paid, right? So, but we want to ensure that employers see interns as more than just extra hands, but really a developmental opportunity for a lot of different reasons. One, it's a great way to help develop talent within your organization.
Hmm.
Of course, it's the opportunity to develop that talent through the workforce pipeline, right? You have an
Hmm.
intern, they do really well. Perhaps they might be a great candidate for a full-time
Yeah.
opportunity. A lot of internships can turn into full-time jobs if you're able to eventually build the position into the budget. But it's also great talent development for your current employees, right? So say
Hmm.
you have employees that are building their own skills within supervision and how to manage people. Having an intern come in under someone gives them the ability to develop those skills as well as they supervise and help support that individual. And then it also, of course, has the ability to contribute to more positive culture within the workplace, right? You're bringing in fresh
Hmm.
talent, you're bringing in fresh ideas and new perspectives, and hopefully you're able to then have their perspectives influence the work that you're doing
Yeah.
to help make your organization better.
Now we've done some internships in our past, and everything that you just said holds true. It's they just bring a great sense of energy and passion and all the things that a college student brings. It's good for them, and I know it's been good for us, and we'll continue to do that. So, give me a sense of how does what does your internship pool look like? Where do they come from? And then if someone's interested in offering an internship, how long does it typically last? What does that look like?
Yeah. So I think one of the things about internships is, everybody knows that you need one,
Hmm. Hmm.
but people feel really intimidated by it, both students and employers alike. I'll talk to folks who say, okay, I kind of want to do an intern, but I just don't know where to start, or I just don't know what
Hmm.
that looks like. And the same thing with a student. They'll show up to our office to chat with a career advisor and say, I know I need an internship. Give me an internship. And they think it's just like an item that they can pick up off the shelf and
Hmm.
take home with them. And as you know, It's a lot more than that, but it feels complicated. And really, at the end of the day, it's about seeing what the need is first and foremost. So, for an employer, if they were interested in thinking about an intern, they'd
Mm-hmm.
really want to look around at their organization and figure out where those gaps are that could be best be filled by an intern. Usually,
Mm-hmm.
interns, especially for an organization that hasn't had one before and is working to get an opportunity created, is to try to identify a specific project that's has a clear start and end, that you could have an intern
Mm-hmm.
collaborate with you on. Internships can happen any time of year. So it doesn't necessarily have to be just during the summer, although summer internships are kind of the most, I would say, well-known concept when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to
Mm-hmm.
when internships happen. Usually summer internships are about 3 to 4 months. So I would say 12 to 16 weeks is probably the
Mm-hmm.
typical length for most internships, although many internships can be extended beyond that. Sometimes someone will get an intern in and they'll say, oh, well, let's keep
Mm-hmm.
you on for the fall semester. Um, Students definitely can do internships during the fall and spring semesters as well, or even during the entire academic year. So the first thing is really finding out that need. And then when does that need sort of fall within the calendar year? And to be sort of preparing accordingly through an application process.
Mm-hmm.
Writing a job description is really the first thing. Okay, what is this person going to do? And then, talking to us and saying, what else can I do to make this job description more desirable to our students? We have a great internship guide where employers can really follow through a lot of the steps of this process that I'm describing. So there's a lot more detail there. I don't need to go into all of it, but it's promoting the opportunity to our students. And then on the student side, it's them seeking opportunities. And then if it's the case that they need to get academic credit as a part of their program for that internship, that is something that they work out on the academic side. So within the university, they'll work with a faculty member to sort of sponsor their
Mm-hmm.
internship, which includes completing an educational agreement. So there's a little paperwork, but that's really not necessarily something that's on the employer side, at least early on in the process. That's something you kind of cross that bridge when you get to it. But that is something that some students are interested in, but not every student needs an internship for credit. So I think a lot of employers assume, oh, what do I
Mm-hmm.
have to do to get it to count? And it's like, you don't have to do anything. That's really up to the student. There are some programs that don't necessarily require it. And there are some students who want to do multiple internships
Mm-hmm.
who, they've already maybe gotten one for credit, but they're trying out a couple different things. So it really runs the gamut. But at the end of the day, we're here to support if there are folks that want to do an internship and they feel like they could benefit from a one-on-one conversation just to kind of get the wheels turning. That's what we're here for.
Oh, that is so incredibly helpful because so much of it is when you want to start a journey is just putting that first foot down and knowing where to put it. And you gave us some great ideas on how to do that. And it's good to know that there's a resource to help along the way. Um, I don't think a conversation in today's world would be complete without mentioning COVID. And COVID has disrupted
Mhm.
so much, including, I'm sure, internships. And typically, traditionally, you would look at bringing an internship into your office, and they'd work there for the summer or the fall or whenever it is. But how has that changed? And what is a? I'm assuming that there are virtual internships available. So what does that look like?
Yeah. So, yes, absolutely. Internships were and continue to be disrupted
Mhm.
by COVID. It was really challenging, especially last year, right about now when the pandemic really hit us here in Maine and we started to see employers changing their opportunities for the summer. Because right
Mhm.
now is when a lot of folks would be applying potentially for summer internships. So, we had a lot of students that needed to find alternate opportunities. Some were able to move folks remote, which
Mhm.
is great, but many struggled to do so. So, of course, over the past year, people have kind of in this wait and see mindset of
Mhm.
not really getting ready to commit to doing a remote opportunity, but people are starting to come around to it because a lot of folks have been successful. I think
Mhm.
we all probably have been much more successful with our remote work experiences than we ever would have thought,
Mhm.
prior to COVID, for those of us who aren't, used to the remote environment. But we also have a lot of students that do everything online anyway. And I think a lot of people are just much more attuned, especially now, to how to live your life in a remote and virtual world. So I think people are coming around to it, and that employers are being more mindful about, all right, how do we create a culture that allows an interns to still be engaged in the environment that we create, but to do it in a virtual setting or to do it remotely. And again, I think that many of our students are very able to navigate that world pretty easily. And hopefully, again, it's a way that interns can contribute positively to the environment because they can bring new ideas about, oh, hey, we did this in my class when we were, going virtual. And here's some different things we can do on Zoom that can help make our community a little bit more connected. So it's certainly happening, and we encourage folks to push themselves to try, and to also know that there may be opportunities moving forward that could be a little more hybrid, right? If there are folks that do have people in the office, I know
Mm-hmm.
particularly at credit unions, there's folks that are on site. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's a concern about, well, how could we manage something? Well, perhaps you have an opportunity where you do have a student come on site from time to time for certain trainings or certain engagement opportunities, but then they are able also to do work remotely. So I think, the name of the game is creativity, right? It's just about thinking outside the box and being willing to work with what we have. So I've been really impressed to see how many people are really stepping up to provide those virtual opportunities because they are great. And I think that they're going to continue even in a post-COVID future, which is hopefully not too far away.
I suspect you're right. It's opened up so many doors to be able to do things remotely or in a hybrid fashion. I suspect you're right that this some form of it will continue on. So wrap us up. So you've sold me. I am excited. I know our credit unions are excited. They want to bring on an intern. Where do they start? Where do they begin the process?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that, I actually spoke with the credit union not too long ago. And one of the things that I spoke with them about is this piece around starting with the big picture questions about really what is the intern going to bring? What can we offer an intern? And even like, get a whiteboard or find a mirror in your house and, a dry erase marker and just start writing some, creative ideas. Because I think that at the end of the day, the most desirable internship for a student these days is going to be a little bit creative. It's going to have
Mm-hmm.
different pieces, right? So I know, for example, with credit unions, a lot of staff come into the business through becoming a teller, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's really the point of entry. Well, can you create an experience that combines the work that you need, which is a teller,
Mm-hmm.
with educational opportunities? So perhaps you have a 40-hour a week intern who 20 hours a week has some role in the bank, working in collaboration with tellers, learning in that environment, and then also spending, the other half of their week working on other projects. Perhaps maybe they have an interest in marketing. So maybe they're supporting your marketing team
Mm-hmm.
on a social media campaign or doing video interviews like this that could help to, inspire your clients for different offerings that you have to really build an opportunity that's exciting for someone and that could be potentially customized,
Yeah.
and that includes the opportunity for them to share what they have with your team at the end. So starting with that big picture creativity, then sort of drilling down into what could this experience really look like that's meaningful for us and meaningful for them, and then set up a time to talk to me. I'd love to support you in taking that, putting it into a job description, and then promoting it to our students and hopefully, getting some wonderful interns that could then turn into wonderful employees. That's the goal. So I think starting there, and again, I'm happy to provide the designing an internship program guide that we have so that you can share that as well. And that does have a lot of resources in it that can help you get started.
Oh, Alex, thank you. Thank you so much. And we will post your contact information, links out to the guide and all that stuff along with this video. And I think you're right. I mean, starting with the end in mind, starting with the big picture is so important. In today's world, as you well know, the job market is so competitive, it's so tight, and finding people is part of the challenge. And growing the workforce starting with our colleges is a great way to do it. And I know in my own career, I'll take just 2 seconds. I didn't know what a credit union was. I didn't think that
Mhm.
a credit union, the credit union industry would be a great place to have a career, and yet it is. It's a wonderful place, and if we can build the energy and build the passion around credit unions, starting off with internships, that would be a wonderful thing. So, Alex, thank you for sharing all your thoughts and insights today, and good luck to all of your students, and good luck getting them into internships. And we hope to be a
Yeah.
big part of that. So, you take care.
Thanks so much.
Yep.
Nice to meet you, Todd.
Good meeting you.